everybody, I'm Larry Trex with Sim Products, and today we're going to talk about doing a couple of smaller repairs, particularly on plastic. Things like tabs on a bumper cover, or headlight brackets, or radiator tabs, things of that nature. Things that we always describe as black plastic and underneath the hood of a car, and you need something that can fix it quickly. Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do that with our products called Quick Set adhesives. Quick Set adhesives, as you can see here in front of me, we have several different ones to choose from. We have Quick Set 20, we have Quick Set 50, which is our black, we have a Quick Set 50 clear, and then a Quick Set 180, which is also a black. And what the 20, the 50, and the 180 stands for are seconds, and that's just how long you have to use it. And as you can tell here by what we did a moment ago, that is already set up, and that is the Quick Set 20. So it is a very fast product, but it's extremely easy and extremely useful when you're doing those smaller repairs. So one of the things that when we talk about using these adhesives, these are urethanes, and there is a process for being able to do it, just like everything else that we do here. The first part of that is the making sure that we've got the surface clean. So we want to use two different types of cleaner when we're doing this. We want to use a water-based cleaner and a solvent-based cleaner. And if you didn't see the video that we shot for plastic repair, we explained it a little bit more into detail. Well, it's pretty simple. On a bumper cover, you get more than just dirt. You get grease and you get oil that gets splashed up from the roadway. Well, sometimes that, a water-based cleaner isn't going to get that grease off. So you need something a little bit stronger, and that's going to be where the solvent-based cleaner comes in. So our water-based cleaner that we use for this process is called Scuff and Clean. A lot of people refer to it as a blending paste. We use it with a gray scuff pad and a little bit of water. It suds up really nicely, and we go in and we just get it nice and clean. After we wipe that off, then we come back with our solvent-based cleaner, and we give you a couple of different choices. We actually have two of our solvent-based here, which is our plastic and leather prep and our Sim Solve. So both of these are very, very mild solvents, safe enough that you can actually use them on plastic surfaces. So we'll come in, we'll spray that, and then we'll wipe them off in one direction. The next part is, because Quick Set adhesives are urethanes, they do require an adhesion promoter. And we are going to use our XXX adhesion promoter to be able to do this. And we'll probably shoot a video later on to be able to talk a little bit about adhesion promoters, because there's a lot of them out there and there's a lot of misconceptions about how to apply them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well and try to incorporate that into this video. And then we're going to use a product that's called Plastic Repair Contouring Tape. It is a mesh tape that comes on a plastic backing that's a release film. That is exactly, this release film is exactly what we use for the Quick Set adhesive. So very straightforward, easy process to do. We always joke and call these Friday afternoon glues, because somebody's on the way to pick up a vehicle and you need something done quickly. This is the way to do it. So we'll get over and we'll do our demo. So as you can see on this bumper tab, these are pretty easy to get snapped off, and while this is on the bottom of the bumper cover, a lot of times what happens is that you get a tab that breaks loose on the top of the bumper. And why it's so important that you repair these tabs is because if you do, what most guys will do is they'll try to run a screw up in here just a little bit tighter, just to try to hold it into place. And on the top of the bumper cover, these things actually help to line the bumper cover up with either the quarter panel or the front fender. So they'll run that screw in there a little bit tighter. Well, they're usually running that screw into a nylon bushing. That's extremely easy to strip out. And then once you've stripped it out, then it's going to be very difficult to get that bumper cover to line up. So that is why it's important that you do these types of repairs. So with this, you can see here, like I said, we've got it, it's been snapped, and you can tell just how dirty this bumper cover is. It's pretty nasty. So we're going to come in, like I said, with a gray scuff pad and a little bit of water with the Scuff and Clean, and that's our first step. So put a little bit of product on, and then you can come in here and go ahead and get it clean enough all the way, far enough out that you think you might get some material. And then also, I know you're on that side, but that's okay. We'll get around here where you can see it as well. And then once you've done that, basically wipe it off. Now you can rinse this off and then blow it off dry if you'd like, but it's just as easy just to take a prep towel and come in here and clean it. So you can see there, we've got it nice and clean. So that was the water-based cleaner, our Scuff and Clean. The next part of that is we're going to come in with our solvent-based cleaner, which is our plastic and leather prep. And you spray it on, come in with a towel, a dry towel, and wipe it in one direction. Do the same thing on the other side. And now we've cleaned it. So everything is clean. Now we want to come back and we want to start doing our sanding or our grinding. And while you can do that with a tool like a die grinder, a lot of times you're working on black plastic that melts extremely easy. So it's a lot easier because you're just doing a small tab, just to do it by hand. So we take a grinding disc, either a 24 grit or a 36 grit, and I'll just do this by hand. Come in, and you just basically want to come in and just get a nice good grind mark. Spread out further than you want to get your material. Make sure that it gets in there and it's got that good grind. And then I'll do the same thing on this side as well. And it's not necessary, if the paint has good adhesion, it's not necessary to take the paint completely off and strip it down to the raw plastic. So you can leave that on there, just get in there and rough it up well, and then we'll blow it off and we'll be ready to do our repair. Now, one other thing before I do that, I did want to mention, if you've got a really badly torn tab, one of the things that you can do is you can take a drill bit, a little 1/8 inch drill bit, and actually come in and put some drill holes around this area. And what that allows you to do when we do the repair with the adhesive and it smashes in there together, it just kind of marries both sides together and makes it even stronger. So I'll go ahead and do that so you get a chance to see it. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, just take an 1/8 inch drill, and then we'll clean those up a little bit and we're ready to go. Okay, so we've got our tab ground with 24 36 grit. We've pre-drilled a couple of little pinholes in here. And because this tab does overlap onto the outer surface, you saw me put a little bit of masking tape over here. So if you want to try to keep the repair material to a certain area, use a little bit of tape and you'll be okay. The only thing that you have to remember though is if you get the quick set adhesive all the way up to the tape, you need to score that so that you can remove the tape or remove it immediately before it sets up. With quick set 20, that's going to be pretty quick, so you need to make sure and go in and score it so that you can remove the tape off of it. But once you've got it here, then we're ready to apply our adhesion promoter. And we talked briefly about this a while ago, but with adhesion promoters, you know, depending on where you're at, I've seen them used a bunch of different ways. I've seen guys come in and spray light mist coats. I've seen guys come in and spray heavy coats. So which is the right way to do it? Well, the actual right way to do it is to spray one good medium wet coat down, and that's all that's necessary, just enough to get that same thing on. But you don't want to put so much on that it also makes it start to run either. So with that, we're ready to spray the adhesion promoter. You'll come in, one medium wet coat on both sides of the surface. And then the other key is that you need to let it completely flash. If you try to go on here a little too quick, then what's going to happen is the adhesion promoter will react with the quickset adhesive. It's not going to weaken it, but it will actually make it look foamy. So you do need to let that adhesion promoter completely flash. And obviously, depending on your situation, what time of year it is and where you're at, that's going to determine how quickly this stuff is going to flash. Most of the time it takes no more than about 5 minutes and you're ready to go. So now that the adhesion promoter has had a chance to completely flash, we're ready to actually do the repair. And one of the things that we're going to use, like I mentioned earlier, is our plastic repair contouring tape. The contouring tape is a combination of two things, the mesh reinforcement and the release film. And as you can see with this one, I've actually removed half of the mesh from the release film. The reason I did that is because on this particular tab, part of this is on the outside of the bumper cover that I may want to have to come back and sand it and paint it. And the last thing, if that's the case, the last thing I want to have happen is to have the sand through all that mesh. So what I'll do is I remove half of the mesh so that when I put the product on, the mesh will go on the inside of the bumper where it's not seen. And then on the outside where we flip it across, you'll just have the adhesive. And it just makes the process a little bit easier. So basically, you've got the best of both worlds there. The mesh for your reinforcement and the clear tape just to be able to come in and not have to get it all over you. So with that, we're gonna do this repair with the Quickset 20. And like I said earlier, Quickset 20, you have 20 seconds to do it. So you need to really have everything together and have it lined up. One of the things I always try to do when I remove a static mixer, you can see how it has a tendency to get a little bit gunked up before it went into the static mixer and got mixed, is take your old static mixer and remove some of that before you get ready to replace it. I always make sure that you've got product coming out of both sides, and we do. And then you put your new static mixer on. Now, if you saw and noticed a moment ago where I purged that product out, one side of it is thicker than the other side. One is like water, the other one's like syrup. Well, because of that, whenever you're getting ready to do your repair, you always want to leave this static mixer and this gun pointing straight up. Because if I walk over to whatever it is I'm going to be working on and I turn it upside down right now, the watery side is going to run down into the tip and it's going to knock the tip off ratio. Once you knock that tip off ratio, it's not going to want to mix properly. So it is important you always leave that thing standing straight up. The other thing that you want to do is when you get ready, pump some product into the static mixer about halfway, then you can flip it over and do whatever you want to with it. Okay? So we've got our mesh. We've got our adhesion promoter on. We're gonna pump some product up in here and then we can flip it over, lay a little bit of a test dollop out there to make sure it looks like it's working properly, and it is. Put some product on both sides and then come in, put the mesh on the back, flip it across onto the front, and then use your fingers to basically mold everything together. And as this product really begins to set, it's gonna get really hot. It's already starting to burn my fingers already, so it is that quick. And from here, all you've gotta do is let it cool down, which takes usually about 5 minutes. Remove the release film off of the repair, come back in here, re-drill your new hole. And that's the advantage of having the clear Quickset adhesive in applications like this, is that you can see exactly where the hole was supposed to be. Re-drill your new hole, sand it, shape it up a little bit if necessary. I will make sure and tell you one caution on this, because this is a urethane adhesive. If you do need to come back and put body filler on top of it or a polyester glaze, prime it first, because urethanes and polyesters really don't like each other. So make sure you put a barrier coat in there, put a high vis primer on there first, let that dry, and then put your polyester on top of that, or your body filler on top of it, and you're good to go. This is a very simple process. It's an easy way to fix some of these quick little repairs that I've been in body shops before and seen perfectly good bumpers thrown away, and all that was really wrong with it was one tab. So quick, easy way to be able to do those repairs and make yourself a little bit of money. Hope this helped you out. Look forward to seeing you next time.